Hey there, and welcome back to my channel at the Starlings. Today I am doing a homeschool collaboration with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way. Today we have a homeschool this or that, get to know the homeschool mom. So grab a coffee and let's chat. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Peggy. I have been married to my husband Andy for 11 years. We have 5 children together and we have 1 foster child. On my channel at the Starlings, I make videos about homeschooling, homemaking, and family discipleship. So I'm a mom of 6 and I am homeschooling 3 of our children. We have a 2nd grader who is 7 years old, a kindergarten/1st grader who is 5 years old, who just really enjoys learning, and so that's why she's doing some 1st grade work. And then I have a preschooler who is 4 years old. Our other 3 children are 2, almost 2, and 6 months. This guy's almost 6 months. And that's our family, so welcome here. The playlist with all of the other homeschool mamas included in this collaboration will be linked in the description box below. So go check out some new channels. And let's talk about our homeschool this or that. Okay, I've got my coffee and this is a homeschool mom this or that game. So the rule is that you can only pick one. So I'm gonna try really hard to do that and to not nuance and pick both things every time. So that's my goal. You may hear children playing. I have 6 of them. So you are likely to hear that in the background. Thank you for bearing with me. It's not perfectly quiet in my house. That's just not real life. So I'm bringing real life to you today. All right, the first one is coffee or tea. So without question, I'm definitely a coffee drinker. I have loved coffee for a long, long time. I worked at Starbucks when I was in college, and that's when I really started to love coffee a whole lot. Since then, my taste in coffee has grown beyond Starbucks. We have a lot of really great local coffee shops where I'm at, and I love to go out to coffee there sometimes whenever I get a chance. And my husband and I bought an espresso machine. We've had one since the beginning of our marriage. This is our 2nd or 3rd machine that we've had. We love to make coffee at home now to save a lot of money. So I love doing that, getting to make my own special coffee drinks at home. So I love coffee. There's no question about that. Next is early bird or night owl. So I would love for this to be different, but I am definitely a night owl. I can stay up late. I can get things done late at night. Have no problem with that. I can read. I can, do all kinds of things at night and have no problem. I would like to be an early bird. I have worked hard in the past to get up much earlier, like 5 a.m. I was doing that for a while, but pregnancy and having babies changes that. So usually when I'm recovered from pregnancy and my baby's sleeping through the night, then I can get back to an earlier schedule, like 5 a.m. But right now that's not happening. So I'm still living the night owl life for now. Paper planning or digital planning? I am definitely a paper planner, without a doubt. I cannot do digital planning. On paper, there's something different about it. Holding it, writing it down. Even if I try to write with like an Apple Pencil on an iPad, it's still not the same to me. So I use a paper planner. I use the Rifle Paper Company planners. I love their planner. I get a new one every single year. They have a monthly side and then they have the weekly also. I'll link that below if you're interested in that, but I love the Rifle Paper Company paper planners. I write down all my goals. I write down appointments and things that are going on during the month, during the week. Definitely a paper planner. Plan ahead or plan from behind? I definitely plan ahead. I like to write down everything that I need to get done. I try to be really realistic with what I'm able to get done. So if I overdo it, then there will be a lot of boxes not checked off, and that is when things get harder. So I try to be realistic with what I'm planning to do. So I usually plan ahead. Planning from behind is when you write down everything that you did get done. So I can see how there would be benefits to that, because at the end you could see everything you've done and there would be accomplishment there, but I definitely like to plan ahead. The quote goes, "Failing to plan is planning to fail." That has been true for me. So I believe that when I plan ahead, I am more productive, things get done a little better. So definitely planning ahead. Next is one homeschool method or eclectic. So this is where I kind of, don't know which one to say. I think I have to say eclectic because I'm not 100% a purist, but our homeschool is mostly Charlotte Mason method. So majority of what we do is Charlotte Mason method. I use a lot of Simply Charlotte Mason curricula. I love it. I love the Charlotte Mason method, the nature study, the living books, the picture study, the music, the art, all the things. I love it. We love to do Charlotte Mason style, but we also have some classical aspects to our homeschool as well. Our Math UC is definitely more on the classical side. So we do have some classical things. We do some memorization, but not majority. So we're kind of a mix of Charlotte Mason and classical. Okay, homeschool hoarder or minimalist. So for our size home, I would probably have to say hoarder. It's not crazy, but we have one small cabinet in our dining room that has all of this year's curricula and things in it. Then I have some storage in a shelf beside my daughter's room, and then one shelf out in the garage. So I do have some spaces that have extra stuff. So I can't say that I'm a minimalist in that. So I guess I have to say hoarder. But it's not crazy. For our small space though, I could use those spaces for other things. So that's what I'd have to say. But we really love games, educational games. So we do have quite a few of those. That takes up some space. So we really do love that, but totally worth it to have that saved. Okay, crayons or markers? Definitely prefer crayons. My kids love markers, obviously, but I prefer crayons. If they're doing something they have to color, I usually ask them to use crayons. I have a lot of really little ones that might color on walls, things like that. That has happened before. We deal with it with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, so that works pretty well. But overall, it's mostly crayons in our homeschool. Whiteboard or chalkboard? I definitely use the whiteboard more often, and the girls love to use the whiteboard. They like to write on them. Sometimes we use those as kind of like an old school slate that kids would use in the one-room schoolhouse. So they have little whiteboards that we'll use as their own personal slates. We don't do a lot of chalk just because of it's a little bit of a mess for all of my children that are so small. Maybe as they get older, if they would like to do chalk, we could do that, but for now it's whiteboard all the way. Games or puzzles? This is another one that I can't say both, so I will say games. My kids love educational games. We have lots of those. I will link some of our favorites down below. They're appropriate for preschool through some upper elementary type games. So I'll have a range there down below for you to check out in case you're interested. Learning Resources has a lot of really good games, so we look at that a lot of times, especially if we're going to be picking a new game. So it's definitely going to be games. We do like puzzles, but the majority of the time it's educational games. Okay, screens or no screens? This is another one. We don't do a lot of screen time, but our math does have a video that has to be watched each week. So they do use the screen to watch that. That is pretty much the only screen that we use in our homeschool. If we're having a really difficult day, a particularly busy day, or babies are sick or something like that, then I will turn on Homeschool Pop on YouTube. I will use that to have them watch something educational. So I will do that on a particularly difficult day, but the majority of the time it's just our math, and it's a short lesson that they watch on a screen. And then all of the work is in their workbooks, paper, using manipulatives, all that. So not a whole lot of screen time in our homeschool, but there's not no screen time, so I have to say yes to screens. Okay, pajamas all day or get dressed. We get dressed every day. My girls have a morning routine that is hanging on our refrigerator that they look at. They know that they have to wake up, eat breakfast, get dressed, brush their teeth, brush their hair, clean up. All of those things are in their morning routine. They look at the paper that we have on the fridge. It's laminated, it's up there. They can look at it and make sure they're doing that morning routine. I'm trying to build good hygiene habits and just good overall life habits for my kids from an early age. So we definitely get dressed every day. Okay, read aloud or independent reading. So I only have one that can independently read right now. So I'm gonna say read aloud. We enjoy doing that all together as a family. Even when I assign my second grader some independent reading, she prefers to read it out loud to me. So read aloud has definitely been a huge part of our family culture and a part of our homeschool. So we have a few read aloud books that we're doing right now, one for history, one for more of a literature, it's a missionary book that we're reading. So we do definitely more read alouds than independent reading. Classic or modern literature? Definitely more classic. There are some great kids books that are modern, have no problem using that, but we lean more towards classic books. As my children get older, I will definitely be teaching the classics to them, having them read the classics. So that feels really far away to me right now, but I know that's gonna come faster than I realize. But classic literature for sure. Science or history? This is another one that I'm like, I want to say both, but I can't. So I'm going to say for our homeschool, we are definitely a science homeschool. We love all things science. My children really enjoy science. They say it's one of their favorite subjects. We're using a master books curriculum for our science, and they are loving it. They have learned so much. They've just been in awe of God's creation, and I am so thankful for that. So right now we are a science homeschool for sure. Loving that, loving the projects and everything that goes along with that. We do history, and I personally love history, love learning all things history. I'm excited for my kids to one day, maybe, hopefully, get excited about history, but that's not where we're at right now. So science for sure, we're a science homeschool. Art or music? It's another one that it's so hard to say. My children love art, but they also love music. I'm gonna have to say music. Our whole family just loves music. We love to sing. We love to sing together. I teach my children the hymns, great hymns of the faith. Each month our church has a certain hymn that we are learning and teaching to our families. That's a huge part of our homeschool. Sometimes art goes by the wayside, so it more often goes by the wayside than music. So I'm gonna say music for right now, but my children really do love art, so I try to incorporate that as much as possible, but we are more of a music homeschool, I'd say. Nature study or poetry tea time? I have done a couple poetry tea times. I'm hoping to do more in the future, but we do nature study a lot more. So I'm gonna say nature study. My children love to go on nature walks. We have a little homeschool co-op that a friend and I started that is about Christ, creation, and community. So we go on a lot of nature walks and talk about God's creation, look at creation, focusing on Christ, who Christ is, and being together as a community. So we love that. We definitely do a lot more nature walks than poetry tea time, but hoping to do a few more of those in the future. Lunch with your kids or lunch alone? So typically I feed everyone lunch, and then the toddler boys go down for their nap, and then I eat lunch. So for that reason, because of how all that works out, I usually eat lunch alone, and the kids get to play and have some free time while I eat lunch alone and get to kind of recuperate. If I'm having a hard day and I'm not having a right heart or not being joyful in my day, I take time to pray. I may take time to read the Bible during that time, but I like to eat lunch alone. It is good for me to just recuperate, to spend some time in prayer, and just to get ready for the rest of the day. So lunch alone. School at the table or school all over the house. So I have to say all over the house. We do a lot of school at the table, but we do some outside. We do some on our couch. We don't have a specific schoolroom. We just don't have a room for that. So we do school all over the house and outside. Take summers off or school year round. So our first year homeschooling, we took the summer off. Our second year, we schooled year round, and I think year round worked out better. We were able to get more accomplished, but we had more breaks throughout the year, so that was really nice. We do take about a month off in the summer before we start our new school year. So I think I'm going to do that again this year, continue with doing year round, taking some frequent breaks here and there. We have a trip to North Carolina and Tennessee to the mountains coming up soon, so we'll take that week off. We take other weeks off throughout the year to take breaks, and that works out better than having one huge chunk of break. So I think we're going to continue to do year round that way. Okay, mummify a chicken or dissect a frog. So mummifying a chicken comes from the Story of the World curriculum, their ancient history. I've seen it in there because I've used that in the past, so I know that's where it's from. And then I'm sure lots of science curriculums will do dissecting a frog in something like anatomy. This is another one that I really want to say both. I'm not afraid to do either of those things, but I would say probably mummify a chicken. We have not done that, but my children would probably handle that better than dissecting a frog at this point. All the girls I think they would handle mummifying the chicken better. So I'm gonna say mummify a chicken, but we love science, not afraid to do those things. I'm not afraid to dissect a frog. That'll be really interesting. Looking forward to doing things like that one day. But for now, we'll say mummify the chicken. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna put all of these this or that questions down below. So if you would like to answer those, you can copy and paste it from the description box into your comment box, and you can tell me which one you would pick, this or that. So I would love to read those answers and hear from this community. Thank you so much for joining me today. Blessings on your homeschool this year and on your day. Thank you to Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Waldock Way for hosting this collaboration, Homeschool Show and Tell. Once again, that playlist is linked in the description box below. I will also link Abby and Jessica's channels if you want to check those out if you haven't heard of them. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.